Welcome back, ladies. I have an odd question for you. The other day I had a dream where I saw on the left the masculine, on the right the feminine, and then above I saw what you might call light or spirituality, but below I saw like an animal darkness in the shadow. And in this dream there was a circle encompassing them all, and it said, to be as fully entertaining as you can be, you must embrace all sides of yourself. So that brings up a topic that I've heard you ladies talk about before, which is embracing both the light and dark energies of the feminine, in specific, as men would more specifically access the light and dark energies of the masculine. So I'd like you to speak to what those light and dark energies are, and a little bit about accessing them and what you get. What's the result from accessing them?
So, again, to me, the feminine it's the entire palette. So it's from the darkest dark to the lightest light and everything in between. And so what someone might term as a dark energy to me might seem rather light. If Suzanne were to embody a light energy, I might look at her and go, that's the darkest thing I've ever seen. So it's very subjective in my mind. What I find of value is definitely working in both realms. So as a feminine essence, we generally have a home base that's somewhere along the scale. So some people have a home base that's slightly rooted in the darker energies, the earthier energies. Some people have energy that's rooted in a lighter energy, a more ethereal type of energy. And in order to play fully or be as entertaining as possible, as your dream put it, to have the breadth to do all of it is huge. And it's not just for entertainment purposes, but it's also capacity. So as I go out into the world and I realize what could open this person in this moment is not my home base energy of maybe a darker energy, maybe that would absolutely close them, but something that's on the lighter end of the spectrum. Can I give that to them because I've engaged the full breadth of the palette? I think one thing that I have found in teaching is that a lot of people make dark energy and shadow synonymous with one another. And I think we need to tease that apart. And to me, dark energy is not the same as shadow. Shadow is when we've basically veiled something. We've placed it in a box, we don't want to look at it. And often what we place in that box and we don't want to look at is the darker energy, because it is scary and it is something that, again, as we grow up, we're told, don't do this, don't do that, don't be bad, don't be, so we kind of take these pieces of ourselves that are perhaps darker, we almost disembody them and we hide them in shadow. So whereas the dark places are hidden in shadow, they're not the same thing as shadow. And there's huge value in pulling these dark disembodied aspects back out of shadow, really looking at them in their purest essence, because a lot of them have tremendous value in the world, and to disown them is to literally disown probably half of yourself. They're a huge source of energy, they're a huge source of power, they're a huge source of what it is to live on this planet. And so to really unveil them from the shadow and engage in them fully is something that we're very much aligned with, because it's literally to live in a half life if you don't have access to that full spectrum.
I totally agree. I think that most people, we have this polarized society that says religion says we're supposed to be good, religion says we're supposed to be kind, religion says we're supposed to be loving, and I think those are natural emotions and natural occurrences in being human and actually being alive on the planet. I think animals love each other. I think there's so many factors here, but I think that in the human condition, we have disowned the darker energies, and like she said, they hold a tremendous amount of energy and vitality, and you don't recognize how little energy you have to work with until you actually do some work and you embody a darker energy, and you realize the dark energies are so full of power and vitality that actually feeds your energy field. So I like to think of it like the light energies are like a triangle from your heart up, and the dark energies are like a triangle from your heart down. And so we disown this part of our body, and you can tell by looking at people, like where they hold weight, where they hold their energy, where they're really condensed and where they're really, really tight. And you see people that are very tight in their heart too, or they're very tight in their mind and they won't open their mind. And so you can be open and closed in both, all of the areas. It's not just one or the other, but in the lower chakras is where we have the most fear. And what I find is that, the weakness of disowning something is that then you are susceptible to those dark energies distorting or coming out in inappropriate forms when you least expect them. So the lower chakras are all about power and sex and money. And those are things that you have to have on the planet. So I like to think of them as the life force energies. So I like to separate it into feminine light, masculine light, feminine life force, and masculine life force. Because I don't like the labels that are, it's shadow, it's bad, it's this, it's that, because I think that it's life. I think that when you're in life, you need to protect your family, you need to defend, you need to stand up to something. And I don't think they're bad energies. I think they're part of being on the earth and being alive. And sometimes if you collapse in those energies and are afraid, then other people manipulate you or take advantage of that. So when you actually learn to be fully like, I am light and I am life, I am both of those, and I'm moving both of those simultaneously, that the life force energy, if you embrace it, it comes up your chakras and it feeds your light. It actually makes your light brighter.